I'm Aaron Zimala, and you are watching Marketing Tip Tea Time. Today we have our fifth guest of Season 4. Thank you to everybody who has been watching this show. Again, I cannot thank our audience enough. And today we have Jared Kleinstein. He is an amazing guy and has some great stories. So, if you've ever wondered, what the hell happened to Vine, we maybe have some answers for you on this show today. But first, I'm going to dive into our sponsors for this season. Our first sponsor is Whole Brain Consulting. Whole Brain Consulting is an outsourced operations consultancy that specializes in the consumer products industry, providing solutions catered to your needs. Go to wholebrainconsulting.com, and there are dashes between each of those words for more information. Also, Color World is your one-stop shop for everything anime. Go to colorworldlive.com for more information and to buy their cool merch. All right, drum roll, everyone. I'm going to lightly drum roll on my table here because I have this mic. But we are going to have Jared Kleinstein on the show today. He is let me give you this bio. All right, ready? He is the founder and CEO of Denver-based Gondola Inc. and Fresh Tape Media. Fresh Tape Media is a creative production company founded in January of 2017. Previously, he led sports and international content strategy at Vine and Twitter, which was, Vine was owned by Twitter, where he developed creative content, executions, and managed relationships with various sports organizations around the globe. Until 2014, he ran strategic partnerships for Street Easy, acquired by Zillow in 2013, helping the real estate site grow to become the largest source of listing information in New York City over his 7-year tenure at the company. He lives in Denver, Colorado with his wife, daughter, and best friend / dog, Manchego. All right, here he is, Jared Kleinstein.
Thank you so much for having me on, Aaron.
Thank you for being on the show. We actually met, for anybody who's wondering, we met at the Denver Startup Week. He was one of the speakers, and I really liked your spiel that you gave, and so I went up and talked to him afterward, and now he's on the show.
That was a fun time. Talking about social media is very different from talking about a lot of other subjects because even if you're boring, you can just show funny tweets and funny TikToks, and people are entertained by it. So
that's true. I didn't even think about it. It's like a little cheat code there. Look at all these really funny things. That's great. We're gonna dive into the tea real quick before we dive into the questions. So we sent Jared Sleepy Time Celestial Seasoning Sleepy Time tea, and I'm about to pour here. So we got the tea cam. Look at that.
Ingredients: chamomile, spearmint, lemongrass, Tilia flowers, blackberry leaves, hawthorn, and rosebuds.
Hawthorn
Pretty
and rosebuds.
Healthy. Sounds healthy to me.
Wow, and made, I believe this is made in Boulder. Yeah, this is made in Boulder. I've toured their facility,
Sure.
Celestial Seasonings. Yeah, they're pretty great. They're pretty cool. So I'm going to let this steep. It's very clear right now. You can see. I'm going to let it steep for a little bit. But we're gonna dive in here real quick. I'm gonna do a this or that, and you can, just choose just your first answer. It's like we're in a therapy session here. We're gonna. All right, so.
I can use one, so I'm on board.
All right, TikTok or Vine?
That's tough. If I can't do both, then TikTok.
All right. And then, so what's so cool about Twitter anyway? What's the cool thing?
What's cool
I know
about
you love
Twitter in
Twitter.
general?
Yeah,
I love
the coolest thing.
I mean, the people that work there are fantastic. The speed of which things go from happening in the world to being translated into everything from breaking news to humor, and just the different ways people supply commentary on the happenings around us just is fantastic on the platform.
Okay.
And they're doing a much better job nowadays of showing content that we actually want to see, being entertained by it. So
okay.
love.
All right. And then chamomile or peppermint tea?
Daily peppermint if I'm not feeling hundo P, then chamomile for sure.
Okay. All right. And I just took a little taste of this as it's steeping. It's You can definitely taste the mint, actually. The mint is maybe the one that's the
Yeah.
most clear to me. Yeah, for sure, for sure. And anybody who's watching the show, also, you can leave some comments and or questions, and we'll try and get those to Jared if there's time at the end of our questioning section. So next thing, we told you that Jared is the CEO and founder of Gondola. And this is a super interesting platform. Zova has actually adopted this, and Marketing Tip Tea Time has adopted this technology because it's so fantastic. And I wanted Jared to come on the show and give you a little taste for what Gondola actually is. So, I'm just going to hand it over to you, Jared. You can sort of tell us what it is and what it does and why it's so awesome. I have my opinions about why it's so awesome, but this really blew me away, honestly, when I saw this at your presentation in Denver.
For sure. I can give a little bit of backstory. So Fresh State Media is a creative production company here in Denver, and we've been doing work for different brands, sports leagues, teams, media companies for a while now, since 2017.
What's your favorite sports team that you work with?
Colorado Avalanche. Luckily,
so.
they work closely enough with the Denver Nuggets that I can just say Kroenke Sports, and they'll know they're my favorites. It's also just like they kind of like an Avalanche thing behind me here somewhere.
And are you from Canada? Or is that where you're from?
I was born in Toronto. I moved to Denver when I was 5.
So hockey guy.
Yeah, hockey guy. It's great. When I was in Toronto, I was the worst hockey player in my group of friends, and in Denver, one of the better ones. So
great. That's awesome.
Good decision for my confidence to move out here. So we've been working with all these different brand partners and whatnot, and we didn't have an easy way to track our work. So we built a system just to plug a social link into a database and then be able to find the public data on it later. And after using that for a while, we added this one feature, which was to add credit for who on our team worked on the project. So if we were looking back like 5 years from now, we could say, oh, that was Max, that was Alana, that was Gabby, that was Avalon, etc. And after using that for a while, we had this realization, which is that we could paste a link from Instagram or Twitter or whatnot and see who made the video. And that essentially was the first platform for credits for social media. There is no other system on the internet right now for any sort of cross-platform standardized crediting for who's creating the content you see, right? You can find out who the poster is of a piece of content. Bleacher Report publishes a video, you can tell that it's from Bleacher Report, but you may not know who was behind it, who's the editor, who's the videographer, etc. So we built Gondola to be a combination of the first credits tool for social, but also a rich creator database. So once people are taking credit for their work, you can use it to source creatives around the country, and they can use it as their own portfolio page and analytics tool. So it's like kind of like a 5 tools in one kind of product.
Yeah, it's almost like sports stats for your social media posts.
I mean, if we're being honest, like brands have been empowered with their own data forever, right? Since social media came out, brands have been saying, I need to know how our social media is performing. Creatives have never been empowered with that information on an individual basis. So we're trying to sort of democratize the social data so that anybody, whether you are the NBA social account or Jared Kleinstein, random producer in Denver, can have access to their own data.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So let's can we do a screen share here and sort of see what that looks like?
Give me a second. This should take me. So
here we go.
I'm here on Gondola's homepage. This is just a quick snapshot of my own data, so I can see how my content is performing. I made a TikTok and Instagram video for the app, so that was my highest performing post last week. I can see trending posts and trending creators. But the main use case you would see of this is if you went to the Avalanche Twitter account and you found this video. So PetSmart brought some puppies to the rink. You see this video, nobody knows who made it. Nobody knows who's behind it. So you could copy the link, go into Gondola, paste it, and then open the post page. And on the post page, you'll see we have it embedded, so you don't have ownership issues. So then we have on the right, we have credits. And you could go in here and say, I was the producer, or I can type in somebody else's name, like Madeline McCarty is the social media manager. I could put in that, let me see, Grayson was also the social coordinator for the Avs. And I could hit save, and now anybody else can see who is behind this piece of content. So if somebody else came into Gondola, pasted this link, they would see who's behind it. Meanwhile, they could go to her profile and see all of her stats. Or if I go to like my profile, I can see everything I've ever made over the years. So I can see I'm responsible for 584 posts for 60 million views. I can see them across all these different platforms. And then I could even break it down by, if I just want to see work I've done for the NBA, it's 2 clicks and I'm responsible for 244 posts. If I want to just see things that I've done for the NBA on Twitter, I can see 152 posts for 2.8 million views. So it's a pretty deep level of drilling down that you can do on the platform. And then because I have this profile, I'm also able to be found in this creator search. So this creator search lets you see everything from people by role. So if I want like videographers, we have 1,300 videographers. If I want to look for videographers in Denver, I can see 67 videographers in Denver. So this is just a really cool way to be able to find creative talent. And it's not just people who say, I am a videographer. It's people who've actually been credited for their work as videographers. So it may show somebody who, like me, who's a director, but I have been a videographer on these posts. So that's the basics of the product. We have, at Explore section, so you can see all the content. We have 230,000 posts on the platform that have credits of creators, and you can see as you hover over who is responsible for all these pieces. And this is sort of a new way to get credit and see credit for people's work. And that's the
we've adopted this too, which is
I should go to the Zova Gondola page.
Marketing.
So you're responsible for 388 posts for 14.3 million views. So people can, so you can use this as a portfolio tool. You can say, if somebody says, what have you made for TikTok? You could do that. And you can say, oh yeah, we're responsible for 14 million views on TikTok alone. So
it's a process, unless you use bulk upload, by the way. It's a long process to get your
right. You have this content
post
manager
up.
where you can see like an import button, and you can select, I want to look through the NHL Instagram account and select a bunch of posts at once. So there's a lot that you can do here.
And what's great, I noticed on your Fresh Tape Media site, you're actually using this as a campaign portfolio tool. So somebody can scroll down to the campaign you've worked on, click that, and it takes them to Gondola. And then that's like you have them organized by campaign as well, which is genius. It really highlights, it's almost an analytics tool at that point as well.
For sure. If I want to go and figure out everything we've done from like NBA All-Star Game in 2019, that was a really fast way to find out that we were responsible for 217 posts and 2.4 million views. So it's a super efficient product, and we're really grateful. We also have this concept of post matching. So if one image is used 4 different times, we can detect that for the content in our platform already, and you can match it to get cumulative analytics and statistics.
That's great. So if somebody takes it and doesn't give credit and it pops up somewhere else, it sort of recognizes that.
So if you go to Bleacher Report and you find something, I'm trying to find a example where, so this is an example where it's via this person. So if I added this post to Gondola, and I also found the original somewhere here, or if that person probably posted it on their Instagram account, they would match together, and I could actually show both pieces of content and their cumulative data. But this isn't a video, so I probably shouldn't share it. But you can see a good example of that is a guy named Brian Boucher, who lives in London. and he took a photo of LeBron's kids playing in London, and it had 56 matching posts because it was used by so many different people. So this is just a really cool way to visualize the impact of your work and your earned media.
This is a great tool. Everybody out there, if you're a creative working in social media, I think this is pretty much a must-have. You've got to, and there's a free version, there's a paid version. Paid has a lot of bells and whistles that are really cool, like bulk uploading, and there's a bunch of stuff that comes with that. But at the minimum, I would say all creatives, even if you're in college and you're getting a little portfolio tool, maybe you're in a small business mentorship class or something where you're helping a small business. Um, make a portfolio for yourself. This will be really powerful moving forward. I would bet on this one. So
Well, I mean, the cool thing about it is it's like for people like you, Aaron, who your resume, your LinkedIn only tell part of the story when you're a creative.
yeah,
Especially like if your LinkedIn says videographer for the Detroit Lions. Then I'm sorry you've had to watch so much bad football in the last couple of years. But
it's been bad. Yeah,
your profile does not show the content that makes you great, right? So
right,
a gondola portfolio actually is like a bit more of a storytelling around what you've accomplished visually and creatively.
right. Right. So with this, this must help out a lot with Fresh Tape Media. And tell us a little bit of the story about how Fresh Tape Media started.
Sure. So I used to run sports partnerships for Vine, RIP. I think I have. I don't know why this isn't lower and more obvious. My stuff. Got a solid, like something that was like on our wall at Vine. I should just find a way to like stick it up here. I think people will think I'm cool. So when Vine shut down, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life, and talked to some old colleagues, one of whom goes by the name Andrew Barge. It's his actual name. It's not like he goes by it and it's anything. But he said to me that I should start my own thing. And I said, I don't want to be a freelancer. He said, then start an agency. And I said, I don't know anything about agencies. And he said, no, you'll figure it out. And I, for some reason, took that conversation and decided, maybe I should. So I called a few former clients and said, would you be interested in working with me? And because I have no actual skill sets, like creatively, like I'm not a good videographer or editor or designer or whatever, I could say yes to different things and then outsource the work when I needed to. So I could take on strategy work, and if there were production things, I could find the right type of creatives to work with me because I built a good creative network over the years. So that's sort of like where it started, was just contacting a few of the sports leagues and saying, hey, do you need help with anything? And they'd say, yeah, we actually need ideas for All-Star, or we need help with this live stream. And, it evolved from me alone in the back of my house to me and 2 employees in the back of my house to now we're 14 employees and a few hundreds of contractors around the country in an office here in Denver.
Congratulations.
Of course, Justin Bieber looks after me every day.
That's good. You have to have that. You have to. Our Justin Bieber got taken down. What was it, Josh? Yesterday? In the studio.
It looks like you're in the ether somewhere. You're in a very peaceful, meditative space.
Yes. What's funny, actually, I don't show this on the show very often, but this actually is a cyc that goes back. This is a lighting sort of thing going on here. So
nice.
This is 6 feet back from where I was, and this is a room without seams. There's no corners or seams, and it's white, and it's lit to do that. So it's kind of a cool little setup. Yeah. But back to Fresh Tape, you said that Vine sort of. So I think a lot of people are wondering, including my wife, who loved Vine. That was actually her favorite platform. What the hell happened to Vine?
It's a good question. When Vine started or was like publicly launched, it was already pretty much owned by Twitter. So it's not like there was one of those things where Vine was huge and then it got bought by Twitter and Twitter changed everything. It was pretty much always a Twitter product. And we had a great team. I have so many good friends and colleagues from then that are still in my life today. We did really cool work. We really weren't focused on monetization, and we were just trying to grow the platform I think that there were things at the end that we were doing that were indicative of where the world was going to head. We had launched a feature to add music to your vines, which is very similar to what TikTok has as like a
Yep.
very core feature to their popularity. We were adding longer videos, so it wasn't just 6-second videos. And I think that, if you ask like what happened, I could blame it on mismanagement. I could blame it on structure of the company or the relationship with Twitter. I had the best relationship with Twitter when I was there. I felt like really supported by the Twitter sports team. So
Right.
I've got nothing for love but for the Twitter team. So it was just a combination of things. And if you told us, or if you told leadership that the keys to being as good as TikTok is today is spending millions and millions on music licenses and investing a lot of our engineering resources into machine learning and algorithm and like really getting to know our users, so we give them feeds that are extremely custom. I don't know if we would have done enough to get it to where TikTok is today in terms of like the resources we could have had. So some things
Got
just,
it.
Die at there's no such thing as like a good time to die. I was like,
Right.
yeah, you're never like, there's no such thing. It's kind of like, when like an old person passes away, right? Like it's not,
Yeah.
you're not happy, but some things like are meant to happen the way they are. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I look back very fondly on that phase of my life,
So
and
then was it sort of a peaceful death?
yeah, I mean, all of us. If there were tears shed on the last day, it was like we just loved going to work together every day,
Hmm.
um, and
That's
we're
cool.
still on like group DMs with all of our friends, and I still talk to former coworkers all the time. So, um,
Wow.
yeah, and I feel lucky because we took on Twitter as a client at Fresh Tape a while back, so I get to work with some of my old coworkers every day, and it's great. It's a good
That worked
experience.
out. Just full circle.
Yeah,
Full
yeah,
circle. That's
exactly.
great. And so obviously good decision for you to go on your own and build all this other cool stuff.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I don't. I think that there's certain people that you'll meet entrepreneurs and that'll say, "Oh, I'll never work for the man again." Like I work for me. I report to me, and I'm like, I
You
loved working
know, I
for the
wake
man.
up
Twitter
at
was great.
noon and I go to bed at 3 and
Yeah,
a.m. and
that's not me. I like being an entrepreneur because I like what our companies do, not
Mhm.
because like entrepreneur life is the only thing for me. I'm grateful that I get to work on the work that Fresh Tape and Gondola does every day. I haven't been bored a minute in 3 years, or not 3 years, in 5.5 years. Oh my god, it's been a long time.
It's
I haven't
been,
been bored
yeah.
for a
And
single
COVID
second,
years,
and
COVID years was the 3 years, I
yeah,
think is what you're.
exactly. 3 normal human years. No, but 5.5 years, I just feel really grateful for every day because I get to do I get to do my dream job, and it's a good time.
Wow. Well, off of that too, our core audience are they're marketers, students, people who want to know more about marketing. What would you say through your years and years of experience at Twitter, Vine, and now on your own? What is the biggest content trap that marketers can fall into that they need to avoid, and how should they avoid that?
Good question. What is the biggest trap that marketers fall into? Um, I would say uh, frantically, constantly trying to keep up with trends and not thinking about sustainable strategies that they can do on their own. If you're
Hmm.
only thinking about memes, trends, and all that stuff, and you don't uh, invest in sort of like an overall strategy that you can churn out scaled content, then um, you're going to be set behind. I would say other traps, probably making decisions without them being fully informed or by analytics or cost structure. So if you are thinking about like, oh, I'm a D2C brand, I should be spending all my money on paid social. You should do that not because you think that's what D2C brands do. You should do it because you've done the numbers and
Right.
that's what they say you should do.
I'd love to hear
So
that.
staying informed, staying ahead, and then also like supporting your probably the biggest trap is not supporting your creative teams. If you don't support your individual creatives, make them feel heard, make them feel appreciated, then you can lose them pretty easily. There's pretty high demand for talented creatives right now. So making sure that you are doing everything from giving them credit for their work, valuing them appropriately and paying them appropriately, giving them respect for what they accomplish.
That's great advice. He spilled the tea there. Don't treat your creatives poorly. Don't be a dick to them. You gotta be nice.
I didn't say that, but because you're gonna pull sound bites that make for good social clips. So I'll let you be the one that said that exact phrasing.
I'll be the one. You're like, not me, guys. Yeah, definitely. And then here at Zova too, we are very number centric as well with analytics, and so something that we do is Josh French, who's my finance director and partner, we do some really in-depth financial analysis on everything that we're doing for ad spend, diminishing marginal returns, calculating what we call the butter zone for a specific campaign. So I really like how you said that, because most people will come to me and they're like, oh, everybody's doing this thing, so we got to do it. I'm like, what does that mean? Who's everybody? What are they doing? What's the...
Yeah.
So, wow, that's... Yep. And then, what's some advice that you can give to creatives and marketers on producing content that actually engages an audience and isn't just sort of, surface level? We all see those brands that it just falls flat, but how do you really engage those core users in that core community?
For sure. A couple things is the first tip is always just consume a ton. You know what to create based on consumption. So expecting that you can publish content on Twitter that'll pop, but you don't use Twitter enough to know what's performing well on the platform is a recipe for disaster. So I would say focus on getting to know how the platforms work and their little intricacies and whatnot. And then on the actual creation side, there's certain little hooks that you should be thinking of. You should be thinking about how short people's attention spans are. Also, I love telling this story because nothing has changed. You can give the same presentation about content today that I gave 5, 6, 7 years ago, in that you want to make relatable content, you want it to feel like authentic, but you also need to hook people in the first 2 or 3 seconds, right?
Right.
So where I can draw it on a piece of paper, don't read through the paper here. Let's just say this is a traditional content creative arc for like a movie,
right,
with plot development. Social content is a bit more like this. This is a terrible drawing. I apologize for my artwork. God, that's bad. There's no reason that's too dark. That's so dark there. Am I here? There we are. So you need to hook somebody in the first 3 seconds. It's almost like you tell the entire story over here, right here, and then you can go back and do your plot development. But you'll notice a lot of movie trailers published on social platforms where it seems like they just did a whole teaser of the trailer in the first 3 seconds, and then they start the trailer. And that's because people know that, like, if you follow a traditional content creation schedule and you're doing like a very gradual lead up to plot development of something, you're going to lose people in those first couple seconds. So get them hooked quickly. Thinking about copy and titles and thumbnails is important, right? Like when people are making a movie, they don't just throw a movie poster up there for fun. Like there's thought process behind what's behind all the marketing materials and everything like that. So you think about that, like your thumbnail is your movie poster. So there's a lot of different little things that you can pay attention to that'll help you out.
That's cool. Okay. So essentially it's all about hooking someone and being very thoughtful in the way that you structure how you present the content in a sequence, essentially, like thinking of it sequentially. That's great. And one quick question that's a little random, but how much do you miss SkyMall?
SkyMall magazine, like in the United when I
Yeah.
was finding out. Um, I do and don't. I feel like I think that when I was really into SkyMall, I probably couldn't afford to buy anything in it,
Yeah.
so it was perfectly voyeuristic.
Yeah.
And now when I think about SkyMall, I think, oh shoot, I have a corporate credit card. Like I would probably think of a business use case for everything in that magazine, and all of a sudden,
Swipe, swipe.
my office would be full of even more crap
Oh,
that
that'd
we
be
don't
great.
need. So that's my take. Also, I have my own routine now on my plane rides, so I don't need to add anything else to it. I'm
Okay.
feeling
Well,
okay.
what's funny is I actually met the founder of Sky Mall in Page, Arizona. Him and his wife at a teriyaki restaurant. His name's
Recently?
Bob Worsley. Yeah, that was in June, I think, or no, before June. It was in the spring. Yeah, I met him and his wife.
I mean,
He's
thank
he's
you. If I
he's
saw him, I'd say thank you. I would just be
he's
like, you provided a lot of like, what's the word I'm looking like it's not just voyeurism. It's like a you provided like a wish, like a good way to like live your life in terms of um, excitement and dreams. And it was like I looked at
yep,
SkyMall the way that people look at like winning lottery tickets. I'd be like, if I
yep.
had that inflatable pool and that toy set and this, I would
Yep.
just do this. And it was just
That
like
grill and that yard flamingo decoration set. Like I'm.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was a great guy. He's actually doing some stuff in Page, Arizona. They have some business stuff going on. So really really exciting. That was just sort of an aside. I noticed that you had mentioned at one point that you missed Sky Mall. So I thought I'd throw that out there.
Always.
And is there any last advice that you have for students or marketers or anybody who just really wants to get good at content and really wants to buckle down and make a name for themselves? What should they be doing?
I'd say that the first thing they should do is just connect with as many people as possible. I mean, Aaron, I don't have to tell you that you should build out a network. Uh, People think of
Networking.
networking and it scares them because it feels businessy until you remember that, like, if you told a 12-year-old, not 12, if you told a 10-year-old or an 8-year-old what you're doing, and don't call it networking, just say, like, I'm doing this. How does that sound to you? Um, and they're like, wait, so you go to parties and you talk to people and you get to know them, and then you look for things in common so that you can hang out with them later. And this is work? And you're
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's considered work. No, that sounds like what I do at parties anyway. Like, I think that
Right.
you have to think about just sort of like um, the positive, like, extraordinary opportunities that networking provides, and that it doesn't always have to be tactical. It can be like out of joy. You can enjoy getting to know new people. Like when I'm on a
Yeah.
call and I find out that somebody um, has a mutual friend in common with me, like I don't think of it as, aha, now I have a hook. Now they like me because I know somebody
Ha, I
else with them.
got
I'm like,
you.
wait, you know Aaron? I love that dude. Well, Aaron and I had, 3 shots of scotch before a hockey game 6 years ago, and
Yeah.
he ate 6 chicken nuggets faster than I could eat two.
I
Like,
remember that.
it's a joyous
Yeah, I
thing.
remember that.
Um, no, but that's. I think I would give that advice: build out your networks and do it authentically in a way that you enjoy, and then uh, create content. I think that if somebody said to me, "What skill sets should I build? What are the most important skill sets?" I would say Excel or Google Sheets and Photoshop and Premiere. If you can somehow be somebody that knows both of those things, um, then you'll set yourself up for a career where you can understand how to create content and also how to analyze it and analyze the success of your work. So
Yeah,
that's my take.
definitely. That's not a slow clap, by the way. That's supposed to be like a regular clap, everyone. That's
For me, am I allowed to clap for you?
yeah, we can clap for each other. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I think that's all we have today. And anybody who is watching right now, you can go ahead and wave in the comments. Wave at us, wave to Jared, wave to us. And thank you to everybody who watches. Again, you can catch us on so many platforms. We've got Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts. We've got TikTok. We're not really on Snapchat, but if you want us to, we can be. We can be anywhere, and we are everywhere. TikTok, YouTube, and you can listen and watch afterward too. You don't have to be, getting out of work at 2:22 and watching the show, which our guests do, obviously, when it's live. So thank you for taking time out of your very busy day, Jared, to jump on this and to be part of our show. It's been fantastic. And if you have any questions for Jared after the fact, you can always put them in the comments, or you can email us and we can try and get those questions to him if you have something very specific. But thank you to everyone. Thank you to Bike Shop Agency, Josh French, our producer, our graphic supervisor, Peter. Again, thank you everyone. We love you all. Thank you Celestial Seasonings for providing this really great tea. We're not asleep yet. I'm disappointed. That's false advertising, right? We haven't fallen asleep. What? Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. And until next time, everyone, cheers. Na zdrowie. Thanks, Jared.